Yeah, I'd like to put out a video tonight. I talked to people all over the place, and a lot of them seem to be really confused about a couple of things dealing with immigration and with refugees. And so I'll just take a few minutes and explain my understanding of that. Um, Number one, our federal government's number one job is to protect this country from enemies, foreign and domestic. And so when it comes to anything that's foreign outside of our borders, there has to be a very strict um, protocol, if you'd want to call it that, or strict rules dealing with people from outside of the country that are coming in. And it's that way with immigration. Why do we have illegal aliens, as they're called, or undocumented uh, immigrants, if that's what you want to call them? Well, it's simple. It's because when they come in here, we need to be able to vet them to see what kind of a person they are. And the reason for that is because a lot of countries actually will send their criminals to other countries. They'll push them out to get rid of them. And so when we have immigrants that come in, it's important for them to go through a process to come into this country. It's not that we're against immigrants or have anything problem with them, because I hear the argument all the time that, well, your ancestors were immigrants and so forth. And I'm like, well, yeah, I had plenty of ancestors that were immigrants into this country, but I also have some Native American ancestors as well. But it's it's things are a little bit different now. We have a lot of there are problems with terrorism and so forth, um, enemies of this country, and so it's important that we know who's coming in. And so there's a process now. There's a problem with that process. I had a good friend from Mexico that I had a good discussion with one day, and I says, well, I said, when you come into this country illegally, you're committing a felony. Well, a lot of the lawmakers, they don't seem to see a problem with all these people committing felonies coming into this country. What would happen if there were millions and millions of Americans that were committing felonies? Well, they'd lock us all up and they'd make us pay big fines and everything else. These guys do it, and they seem to want to just give them benefits and everything else instead of actually following the law and locking them up for committing a felony. So, so what is the problem here? Well, there is a legal path to get here to the United States. They can apply for a visa to get over here and visit, or they can apply for work permits to come to America and work. And the reason that's how it's supposed to work legally, like it is so that they can vet those people. And, if we have good people that want to come here and work, that's great. I think it's awesome. Now, this friend of mine from Mexico told me, he says the problem is in Mexico is that if you have a lot of money or you're influential in the community, then you can get one of these work permits. And if you're poor, you can forget it. You're not going to get those permits. Well, that's where we need to correct the problem right there and get rid of that corruption. I don't know how you do that when you're dealing with other countries, because that corruption is within those countries. But I think it's great that immigrants come here. But like I said, we need to go through that process. Uh, and the other reason why we need to go through that legal process is because we only have so much resources here within our country to take care of those people when they come in. And some will say, well, we don't need to give them health care stuff, and that's true. We don't owe them any of that stuff. But what I mean by resources is we need to make sure there's enough jobs for them. We need to make sure that that housing, that kind of stuff. If we take in more than what we can absorb, then that causes problems in itself. So there has to be limitations on how many that we can take in, and then we also need to be able to vet them, or to make sure that they're good people, not the criminal element. And some will say, well, yeah, but there's always going to be some that will slip by, and there will be. Even though you have a vetting process, you still get a few bad eggs once in a while. So when it comes to the refugees, and that's been big in our in the news lately, of the Syrian refugees coming into America, there are a couple huge problems with that. Number one is, first of all, they need to be vetted as well. We need to make sure that they're not radicalized or have terrorist backgrounds. And I know that when President-elect Trump come out and mentioned that, they jumped all over him, telling him that he was racist and that he was against the Muslims, and that is not what I heard him say. What I heard him say was that we need to be able to vet them. We need to be able to know who they are. We need to make sure that they don't have a criminal background to come in. And then also, for the amount of money, or taxpayers' money that they spend to bring one of those refugees to America and to take care of them, they can take care of 10 to 12 refugees over in their own land. And so my question with that is, why are we bringing so many refugees here when it actually would be more beneficial for us to make sure that they had a safe haven in their own country and provide some food and clothing and stuff for them in their own countries. And furthermore, I've always had a problem with the government doing that anyways. I think that that care should be given by private individuals through charitable organizations. And yes, the government should offer protection to those charitable organizations when they go to those countries to help. And so that's kind of the gist of it, is that why would we bring dangerous people into our country or let them in here without checking to see if they're dangerous people? Well, some of the problems we're having right now is our southern border here in the United States has been wide open. And, I think that some of the Border Patrol and stuff down there have been trying to do a good job. And I've known some of the Border Patrol. A lot of them are really good men and women that work down there. They can only do so much. And we need to not have this constant flow of illegals coming in, because not only, I'm hearing rumors that not only are the Mexican and the other South American people coming in, but there's also terrorists or Middle Eastern people coming in. There's some Asian people from some of the Asian countries coming in. I can't substantiate that because I'm not one of the Border Patrol agents that see that, but those are the reports that I'm getting, that there are people from a lot of other countries besides Mexico that are sneaking across the border. So, we know we have a big problem with drugs, the drug cartel. These are the things that need to be addressed, and the way we need to do that is we do need to shut down our borders and to make sure that the people coming in are the right people. And if that works right, the way that it's set up and the way that the laws are set up in this country, then what a great thing it is. What a great opportunity it is for good people to come here, good hardworking people who come to the United States, and good families that come here to the United States. I have a lot of good friends who are Hispanic, I work with people who are Hispanic, just great and wonderful people, hardworking, great to get along with, and I like to see that. I'd like to see immigration come into this country, but let's do it correctly. Let's do it by the law. And let's not sit here and pretend that it's a horrible thing or that we're racist or bigoted if we say, you know what, you're here illegally, you're gone, and send them down the road. One of the other big frustrations I see is that when you think of immigration, you think a lot of Hispanics, but we have people from all over the world, from different countries. One of the big concerns is about them being able to learn English, and I do believe that that should be one of the requirements on their path to citizenship, is that they need to learn English, because that's the language that we speak here. And if they want to come here and get a job and work, then it's very beneficial that we'll be able to communicate, because that's key. So, like I said, let's welcome them in, but let's welcome them in the correct way, in the right way, regardless of what color skin they have or what religion they are. Um, it's good for them to come here. It's good for us to work together. And I do enjoy other cultures and seeing some of the things that they can produce, and it's a great thing. But let's do it within the bounds of the law and within the bounds that have been set forth, because that's there to protect us. And so that's what I have to share tonight. Thanks.